KB say? Not today, Satan. Not today. Like, break it down and hit that thing on the head.
Cause I'm learning how to grow. I'm just gonna go and let my flowers grow. I'm just gonna go and let my flowers grow. That's just something I should know. Cause I'm learning how to cope. I'm just really trying to grow.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Zaria Alexia, and I'm coming back to you with another video. If you are returning, welcome back. If you are new here, welcome to the chosen family. Did you know you were chosen? So this is my channel where I talk about this is my channel. Why I act like I don't know my own channel? This is my channel where I talk about living for God and utilizing my gifts and passions to glorify Him. And so now that y'all know who I am and what I do, without further ado, let's get into the video. As you can see by the title of this video, today we are getting into how to grow your prayer life, right? So I'm gonna give you guys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different ways to grow and increase your prayer life. And we know that prayer is important. The Bible tells us that we should pray. God wants you to pray. That is like the easiest way to talk to Him, is to talk to Him. So when you are just now starting off, it can be hard to pray, especially if you were someone who was doubting your belief, or somebody who maybe you came from a different religion, didn't really believe in God, and you now have converted to be a Christian, or for many different reasons, or maybe you are a Christian but you feel like your prayer life has grown stagnant. You need ways to get back into prayer. Whatever your situation is, God knows your heart, and I'm glad that you're here to be able to get tips from me as a person who literally prays. And this is not to gloat, this is not to like to uplift myself or put myself on a pedestal. But when I say 2020 hit me like a wrecking ball, babes, Zaria from 2020 to 2021, ooh, the spiritual warfare was there, babes. It was there. And as 2021 progressed, I literally started talking to God every single day, because there was no way I could have went without talking to Him. It don't matter if I talked to Him for 5 minutes or for 5 hours. Babes, I could not go a day without talking to the Lord, because I was going through. And so now it has literally become a habit for me, and I'm a person who prays. I can say, like, proudly, confidently, and truthfully, I pray every single day. Like, it don't matter if I squeeze in a baby prayer or if I'm going full out. Either way, I'm going to talk to my Lord and Savior, okay? So I feel like I have enough experience. I learned how to pray at a very young age. So let's get into it. My first thing I would tell you to do is, if you can't verbally get the words out, you need to get you a prayer journal. If you don't like writing, because I know there's some people who are like, they're not a big fan of writing, you better get you a Google Doc, open up a folder on here, simply just for prayers, or Microsoft if you still use Microsoft. I know like a lot of professionals and college students and stuff do, but I don't know if like people who just use Microsoft. But if you have Microsoft, go ahead, open you up a doc for just typing out your prayers to the Lord. Get your phone and your notes. Babes, make it work. Make it work. And I say all of that to say, like, basically, sometimes it's hard to physically to get the words out, and I understand how that can be, or sometimes you don't know really how to vocalize it, so you kind of just like can write down thoughts. You can just write down stuff that you're going through, or just write down like people that's on your mind, stuff like that. Like that happens sometimes, where you get a loss of words, or sometimes you just physically can't speak. I remember one time I was really sick, and it hurted my voice to even speak. But I said, the devil, not today. Not today. What's KB say? Not today, Satan. Not today. No. I bet you I typed that prayer in my phone. I sure did. And what about it? Enemy don't have no room over here. And don't. Anyway, so highly suggest prayer journals. I'm not a journaling, like, I'm a journaling person. Like, I have a lot of notebooks, but like the people who make them look all cute and stuff like that, like the Pinterest board people, I'm not one of them. I got all of these, like, what's the spiral notebooks like these. I don't got nothing. Ain't nothing fancy smashy about these, okay? Ain't nothing. I just get regular notebooks at the Dollar Tree and get some stickers. I'll actually show y'all my stickers. They're right here. I use these faith-based little stickers. Amazon, Dollar Tree. I don't be going all out. But if you want to go all out, you can. You can. You can look up, like I said, they got Pinterest boards. TikTok have a lot of Christian people, like a lot of Christian-based journalers and scrapbookers and stuff like that. I personally, I be just writing and I be jotting stuff down because I be when I'm in prayer, I'm in the mug. So, number 1, prayer. Number 2, morning and night prayers. So I would consider this baby steps. If you're definitely really new to the faith and you're really trying to increase your faith, I would say start with prayers in the morning and then prayers at night. And so what is this? When you first wake up in the morning, you know, brush your teeth, wash your face, all that good stuff. You know, thank the Lord for waking you up in the morning and pray about what you're going to do. So whether you're going to school, gonna drop your kids off at school, you know, going to college. I don't know if y'all in college or, you know, pray over your classes, pray over your teachers, pray over your professors. What else? If you're gonna go, let's say you going out of town or something like that, pray over your trip, pray over traveling mercy, safety throughout the day, you know, speak against demonic attacks. I'm trying to think, what else is any scenarios? Go to work, cover your workplace, you know. You got a manager that like to test you, co-workers like who get on your nerve, pray against that in the name of Jesus, because I know how that be. I'm trying to think, but like basically anything that you're going to encounter throughout the rest of your day, pray for it, give it to God early in the morning. Okay, any feeling that you might be feeling, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, give it to the Lord, pray about it. Any situation you might be facing, you worried about when you wake up, give it to God. Same thing at night. And I would also encourage you to pray over your sleep, because you know when you are asleep, your physical body is asleep, but your spirit man is still awake, and the enemy loves to try to attack people while they sleep. So cover yourself while you're asleep. And yeah, so morning and night prayers are definitely suggested, especially for busy people who can't, like, it's hard for you to sit down and have like quiet time with the Lord. Having a set aside time in the morning and at night to pray is amazing. And a lot of people think like you gotta have these 5-hour prayers to talk to God. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'll go in. I'll just start praying and I'll keep going and going and going and talking. But everybody is not like that, and you don't have to be like that. I feel like God looks at the heart. And whether, like I said earlier, whether your prayer is 5 minutes or 5 hours, I feel like God understands where you're coming from, and he's going to meet you where you are. Unless the Lord instructs you to pray for a certain amount of time, I don't think it matters how long you pray. So don't think like, oh, I got to dedicate an hour in the morning to God. Like, if you don't have that hour, don't try to do that. If you know you're not a morning person, don't try to force yourself to do that. And I feel like we get so caught up in what we see on social media and stuff, and we want to be like everybody else. Do what works for you, because your relationship with God is your relationship with God, okay? So, morning and night prayers. Then I say have a dedicated time to God. So for me, morning and night works. But there was a time where that stopped working for me because I was having issues with my sleep. And so what I did was I just set aside a dedicated time for God. So I was like, okay, every day at 5 o'clock, I'm going to pray. Simple as that. Every day at 5 o'clock, I'm going to pray. You don't have to have like, I feel like it all depends on your work schedule. So whatever works best for you, whether you like morning and night or whether you want a dedicated time, either way it goes. Well, both are kind of dedicated times, but I feel like morning and night was a little more simpler than a dedicated time. But whatever works for you, whatever works for you is whatever works for you. So next is create a safe place of prayer. I cannot stress this enough. If you know that the only place that you can pray is your room, and your room is constantly junky and cluttered and all this stuff. Because I deal with that myself. And I'll be like, I want to pray, but like I can't think straight. It's too much stuff all over the place. You need to make sure your room is clean then, babes. And just as much as I'm talking to yourself, talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself, okay? Like, if you know you need to pray, and you know you can't focus if the room junky, why you let your room get junky? It's not clicking. What's not clicking, Steven?
What's not clicking, Steven?
So, I feel like, you know, I see a lot of people, oh my gosh, Pinterest have some really cute prayer rooms, y'all be sleep on Pinterest. Go look on Pinterest. People be making these prayer rooms. People be making prayer boxes and stuff like that. They be this one girl I saw, she made like this little fort under her bed. It was so cute, y'all. It was so cute. And she had her Bible and her sticky notes and stuff under there. And I'm just like, y'all, have a dedicated space to go with the Lord. Or maybe you're an outdoorsy person. I see people go look outside. They go on sunsets. They go on hikes. They do all this other stuff. Yeah, I love hiking. I really want to get like really into hiking and talk to the Lord while I'm hiking, because the nature is beautiful. But have a dedicated car ride. Maybe you can get in the presence in your car. Whatever it is. Whatever place it is, for me, it's right here. I do everything in this bed, y'all. I do everything in this bed. So I ain't got no chairs in my room either. And I hate, like, I like to sleep on my floor sometimes, but like I hate filming on my floor. And the angles just be weird. So yeah. And plus my background is so pretty. I painted this myself, y'all. Anyway, and I decorated this. But shout out to my brother for buying me this. It's so pretty. Such a good idea. But anyway. Next thing, make a prayer list. I cannot stress this enough. Have y'all ever been praying? I feel like so many Christians can relate to this. You've been praying and you're like, okay, I'm gonna pray for others. And then you end up praying for the whole world. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with praying for everybody. But like, you feel so guilty when you feel like you miss somebody that you pray for. Or sometimes you forget stuff and you like, oh my gosh, I meant to pray for this person, da da da. Y'all, like I'm telling y'all, notes on my phone is my best friend. When I say, like, when somebody going through something and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna pray for you, I mean that. When I comment that on TikToks and stuff like that, people saying they going through, I mean that. If I text somebody and tell them like, hey, I'm praying for you, I've been worried about you, I mean that. But sometimes I do forget. So I type their name in my phone, and at the end of the day, I come back to my phone and I'm like, okay, I said I was gonna pray for such and such. I make me a list. Or if you're a person who mind tends to wander a lot and sometimes you get distracted easily, make you a prayer list. So my category of prayer list is usually like family, church family, friends, like my personal spiritual growth, emotional, intellectual growth, like mental health, stuff like that. Like I literally just make categories and I write what I want to put. Like I'll put finance, self-love, and I'll talk to the Lord and I'll ask him, like, okay, so say for instance, you trying to create a better relationship with your parents, and I'll pray over my parents, I'll pray over me, I'll speak against the plans of the enemy for my family and him trying to come against our relationships and split us apart, and I'll speak unity into these relationships. And then I'll say, Lord, give me some scriptures so that I can be obedient and help my family instead of going against them. Lord, help me to, you know, be able to set healthy boundaries with my family. Help me to heal from things that my family have hurt me from, or whatever your situation may be. So that's what I do when I make my prayer list. Y'all, my prayer list be long, but hey, I be needing to get the prayers in. But it don't matter if it's yours is long or short, medium, whatever. Okay. If you need to make your prayer list to organize your thoughts, especially if you're a person who worries a lot. I am a person who worries a lot. The anxiety be trying to come into my life. But the Bible says worry about nothing and pray about everything. And that's why my prayer list be so long, okay? So make you a prayer list, make you some categories. And if you really like just can't think of any categories, they have so many templates of this online. I'm sure you can find one online. Literally just Google prayer list. They'll have topics and stuff. If y'all want that in full detail in a different video, I will make that for y'all. So Oh, separating certain days for prayer. So say you really want, oh, that's the next thing. I'm sorry. I meant to say that's the next topic. Next topic is separating days for specific prayers. So say you're praying for your finances. So one day, you can say on Monday, I'm going to pray for tithes. And Tuesday, I'm going to pray for savings. Thursday, I'm going to pray for tuition, college tuition. Friday, I'm going to pray for advance and prosperity. Like whatever it is that you need and you're having a hard time praying for, or you really want to break through for something, I highly suggest dedicating a week and praying for different aspects of this thing. Another example, say you want to pray for your family. Monday, pray for your siblings. Tuesday, pray for your peers. Wednesday, pray for your grandma, your grandpa, all that other stuff. Like, next day, pray for generational curses, okay? Like, break it down and hit that thing on the head. And I promise you, that will make it so much easier, especially if you're a person who can't pray for long periods of time, or you're getting in the habit of praying more. Sometimes you have to take it chunk by chunk instead of taking everything in on one day, or trying to cram that in a morning prayer, or cram that in a night prayer before you go to sleep. You know, it can be hard. So make sure you break it up. If you need to, break it up into certain days, dedicate. This day, I'm praying over finances. This day, I'm praying over health. This day, I'm praying over my family. This day, I'm praying over my relationship, my marriage, whatever it is. So, hey. So, my next thing is, I think this is number 7. So, start with the basics. I cannot express this enough. Whether you are somebody who's been saved for years, or if you just got saved yesterday, you just got saved 15 minutes ago, start with the basics. I cannot express this enough. It don't matter. If you're trying to get back or build a stronger relationship with God, like I said, people be having these, I like to call them these Pharisee spirits. They be thinking you need oh God, I need you to come into my life today and robot shata. You don't need all that. You don't need all of that. Okay? All you need is the basics. So you're probably wondering, what is the basics then? Y'all, get you a night prayer before you go to sleep. Pray over your food. I'm talking like baby prayers. Just the prayers they taught us when we was little kids, okay? Now I lay my head. What is it? Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep, okay? You don't have to do, like, if you really, really, really are struggling, you better, God is grace, God is good. Let us thank him for this food, okay? I promise you. I promise you. God knows your heart. He knows your intent, and he knows that you are growing. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I still say God is grace, God is good. Okay? I definitely do. When I'm trying to hurry up and eat, I definitely hear the God is grace, God is good. So, I just feel like we get so caught up in trying to be so extravagant and wanting to sound anointed and all that other stuff. If you need to go back, I promise you, they got the little nursery rhyme prayers all online. If you need something quick, and the thing is, they're easy to remember because they all rhyme. So, if you need you some quick prayers to memorize so that you'll always know them, of course, we got the OG, the Lord's Prayer. If y'all want that on here, I'll put it in the I'll put it in the description below, because the Lord's Prayer basically is a prayer over everything, and you can say that every single night. I used to say that when I was in high school. I used to say that prayer every night, or almost every night, and it hits everything. It hits everything. You can say the Lord's Prayer. You can go to little nursery rhyme prayers, pray over your food and stuff like that, and it's just like I feel like when you go back to the basics, it allows it to become more of a habit because it gets more installed into your brain, if that makes sense. So, like, if you say, let's say you like, okay, I'm gonna say the Lord's Prayer every night, like I did. It now becomes a habit for you to now you've memorized that prayer, and you start to, honestly, the more you start to say it, sometimes, because at first I didn't really understand some of the stuff that was being said in the Lord's Prayer, like forgive us our trespasses. Like, I was like, give it. And then as I got older, I started to actually understand the meanings of these things. God is great, God is good, let us thank him for this food. Like, oh, you start to pick up on these things. So they have meaning. They have meaning. So don't get so caught up in the fact that it's like, oh, little kids be saying these prayers, because at the end of the day, a prayer is a prayer. Okay. And so lastly, number 8, make praying with others a habit. I cannot stress this enough. Do not be embarrassed. So let's say you got to drop your little sister off at school or something like that. Pray with your little sister before she get out that car. Be like, hey, Father God, I just want you to cover her. Let her and her friends have fun. Let them learn something. Let them have a good day at school. Rebuke and bind the enemy up and send that girl out that car, okay? So I feel like when you begin to make it a habit, it becomes easier for you. And I think that's why I got so comfortable with prayer, is because prayer was not foreign to me growing up. My mom used to pray with me every day before we got to school. Or if she didn't pray, she would or we'll have like I-STEP. That's the state standardized test to graduate in my state. We'll have like I-STEP coming up and SATs and all of that. My mom will always pray with us before we went to go take tests and stuff like that. And or say we went on like a class trip, we would always pray with that. I made praying with others a habit, and I learned it from my mom, because my mom will always pray with us. But say you don't come from a household where that's common. Let's say you go out to eat with your friends. I know a lot of people don't like doing this because they're like, oh, people gonna look over here, they're gonna look at our table, da da da. Baby, grab hands and hit that goddess grace. I do not care. I do not care. You can't be afraid for people to look at you or to be like, oh, why they over there praying? Why they grabbing hands? And I promise you, them people don't care. You ain't never gonna see them people again. Don't be embarrassed to pray. And then you ain't like you gotta scream it across the restaurant, you know. So I know, especially when you're new in the faith, it can be a bit intimidating. But I highly encourage you to pray with others, or ask a friend, ask a pastor, like, hey, Pastor, can you pray with me? I want to get more comfortable. I want to get more in the habit of praying. If your church has prayer nights, go. If your church has any like a prayer Zoom call or something like that, I've been seeing a lot of people been doing that lately. Get on them Zoom calls, or get on those they have like those group calls, and I be seeing those a lot lately, like on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. Get on them and get used to hearing people pray. Get used to praying with others. I feel like that's really I feel like it's encouraging to know that you're not the only one learning how to do this. And also, it gets you in the habit of doing it. And lastly, I want to say, especially if you are in a relationship, I highly, highly, highly suggest that you start to pray with your significant other, whether boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, all that other stuff. It don't matter. Pray with them. Pray over your relationship. Pray that God is leading y'all together. And pray together and pray for each other. And it don't matter. You can get with a best friend. You can get with a sister. You can get with a boyfriend. It don't matter. Like, make it work. Make it do what it do. And that was all of my tips on how to grow your prayer life. I hope that this was some way helpful to y'all. I feel like some of them were a bit repetitive, but in their own way, they were all somewhat different. But if y'all want that video on how to make a prayer list, I definitely will make that for y'all. And I hope that y'all enjoyed these tips, and I may y'all prayer lives increase, okay? So, all right, chosen family, this is the end of my video. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you always know when I'm uploading new videos. And remember that I love you, but more importantly, God loves you, and y'all be blessed.
I feel thorns where my crown was. I'll be weak, but I'm alive from the dust until dawn. Yeah, I'll survive, 'cause I got sweet victory. Nobody can take it from me. Sweet victory, 'cause I got